Our first listening session goes to Mr. Yusuf Muhammad.
Hello. Hi,
Do we want to read anything about, you have his bio, and we'll let him have the stage.
Okay, that's a good introduction. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm excited, very, very excited to be here on behalf of this program specifically, because I don't know, we need more things like this where people like myself can give the knowledge that I've attained and the experience that I've attained. And before I go into, I mean, I know I kind of gave my bio, but before I kind of go into a full intro, something I was telling Bruce was, this is actually the perfect timing for me to be here having this conversation. I just turned 30 in March, and after 5 years of working in this market very comfortably, I mean, I hit the top of the ceiling. You know, I got to see the other side of the doors. I got to meet all these different great people, speak at the United Nations, do all these amazing things, do all these different amazing things. I up and just moved, just left it all, like just up and moved, right? And made this really insane jump to Las Vegas. At the time, it came from a place. I just want to start here because this is just perfect timing for me to be here talking to you all. Because no matter how successful you think someone might be, we all kind of still deal with these kind of internal battles of challenging ourselves and just making sure we're doing the right thing. So I'm actually, the reason why I'm even in Philly right now was kind of like I just needed to kind of breathe, because this year has probably been the hardest year of my life personally, especially professionally. It's just been hard trying to maintain all the different things that I'm doing. So I wanted to start there, just to say that no matter how successful you get, no matter how comfortable you are, and like I said, I've worked very, very hard to be very comfortable. Not wealthy, not rich, but just comfortable. You know, I don't have to worry about certain things that I used to have to worry about when I was younger. I don't have to worry about anymore. I've worked to get to that point. But once you get to that level of comfort, there's also, you get too comfortable sometimes. And one of the things that Taib, one of the first things that he kind of taught me was, there's no such thing as job security. That was the first thing he said to me. There's no such thing as job security. And I think I met him when I was maybe 23, 24, so it didn't really click then. I was like, what you talking about? Like, yes, there is. As long as I'm doing my job, I'm good. But as I've had great jobs, lost great jobs, had contracts, lost contracts, had good shows, had bad shows, I've just learned the importance of there's no such thing as job security. Like really keeping that in your mind, that at any moment, you know, so you have to constantly kind of put things in place to make sure that you can sustain and like I said, be comfortable. So I want to start there, just to kind of give you that personal moment that I'm kind of going through right now, and this is just the perfect therapy. It's really to talk about everything that's going on right now in my life, because people, you know, they just have this assumption that like everything is great, and then when they ask me how I'm doing, I'm like, do you have the time? Do you want to sit down so I can tell you how I'm really doing? So this is perfect. I guess I'll just start kind of give a brief introduction, and then we can kind of just get right into it. I was homeschooled. Some people that know, you know, this is how I ended up actually at the United Nations. I graduated high school very early, went to college at 14. Went to college. It was a horrible experience at 14 years old because I was 14 years old. There was no social media then besides Facebook, but it was just for college, for students. But I was 14 years old in college, you know what I mean? It just was not easy. And I was at Community College in Philadelphia. If any of you have ever been there, you know that definitely wasn't easy for a 14-year-old. And I start there because that's where I kind of started developing a lot of the social skills that I use today. So at 14 years old, never going to high school, never having that interaction with other kids my age, immediately being thrown into interacting with 21, 22, 23, 24-year-olds, I learned to develop those skills to be able to have a conversation with literally anybody, you know. That fear of when you go somewhere, if you go to a networking event and I see people talking to the person they came with, not everyone else in the room, or something I was just explaining to them, being able to kind of have that eye of who you should speak to when you're in certain rooms. You don't have to speak to everybody, but just knowing to introduce yourself to certain people and making sure that they remember you. You know, making sure that they have whatever that interaction is, even for that short 30 to 40 seconds that you can talk to them, that they know who you are. So I developed that very young. Fast forward through a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of life. I got a great job at 18 years old, making a ton of money. Literally got fired from the job for wearing a sweater. Literally. Like, it was the most petty, it was the petty excuse. It was one of those things where, again, at that time I kind of had the whole like pro-black thing going on, and I was really not good with, I've never been kind of good with authority. So I kind of had to learn how to realize that someone who has more knowledge than me telling me to do something isn't talking down to me. It's just that they have more experience than me. They have more knowledge than me. So learning how to take criticism, which is, it's hard. You know, it's very hard, especially for those of us who are kind of self-made and have that in us to do what we want to do. We're unplugged from the matrix. We're not a part of that, you know, that matrix. You know, I always tell people, like, your 9 to 5 is your first investor. So there's only a certain amount of people who think like that, who think, hey, the money that I get from my 9 to 5, I'm not going to just be a part of the matrix. I'm not going to just work enough to pay my bills, to have a little bit of money, to have fun, to then do it all over again for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20 years. So getting fired was the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm standing here right in front of you right now because I got fired from that job. You know, at 22 years old, and I was devastated. I was like, how am I going to buy my PS3? Like, this is horrible. This is terrible. Like, I was just, the whole world was caving down on me at 22 years old. I was like, this is it. I'm going to be broke for the rest of my life. I'm going to be homeless. Like, I just really thought it was over. And by chance, I was moving out of my apartment because I didn't have any money. So I'm moving out of my apartment that I had this really nice apartment, had to move out of the apartment. And on the TV, there was a commercial for the Art Institute. And I went to the Art Institute, got into film and photography, and again, using the skills that I had developed when I was younger, socially. I never went to high school, like I said, so having to learn how to interact with my peers, but then also just knowing how to have good, sustainable conversations that could actually turn into something that could be bigger, which is, I guess, networking. I did that and worked with a lot of people from the roots and traveled a lot and did a lot of great things. But in March of 2011, I had my first concert. And where that idea kind of came from was I ended up just knowing a lot of people. Like, a lot of people had ended up knowing me in the city from doing photography and doing film. I just ended up having a lot of people that knew me. So I just put up a Facebook status. At the time, that's all you had. I was against Twitter. And I said, hey, if I threw a concert, who would come? And it was like, I think I got like 200 likes or something like that. I was like, oh, shoot, okay, well, that's good. That's when I learned how to use my social media to kind of poll my audience. If you have these followers or these friends, it's a good way to find out, like, will they support something that you're doing? Just ask. That's it. Just ask. I'd rather do that than just send out an invite. I'd rather ask, would you be interested in this? Literally, a lot of the artists that I've booked, do you want to see this person? That's it. I don't book artists that I like. I'll give you a great quick story about that. Tomorrow, a show that I'm a part of is the Young Thug and 21 Savage show. Right? I love I love hip hop. Anybody knows me knows I love hip hop. I don't really listen to Young Thug and 21 Savage, right? And when I say this comment, it's not a slight against them. It's actually funny. So my friend, because it's one of the songs that 21 Savage has. So my friend was like, "Yo, are you gonna be there?" I said, "I'll be there for a quick second." She said, "Oh, you're not gonna stay?" I said, "Oh, I'm not into that murder gang shit." Like, I was like joking. But I was saying that because, like, people know that I book what people like. People like that music. I'm able to detach myself from that. And I also, when I look at hip hop and I look at, the different things that we're doing, and this is also learning how to just take your own personal bias out of it. And sometimes you do have to put medicine with the candy. Sometimes you do have to find ways to bring, if you want to get a message through, you do have to find a way to kind of implement that into what you're presenting. But being able to take yourself out of it, that's the biggest thing. Like, when it comes to hip hop, on Facebook and Twitter, I said, is Bow Wow and Soulja Boy, are they legends in hip hop? And people went off on me. Are you kidding me? Bow Wow is trash, and You know, Soulja Boy is a bum. He's garbage. Soulja Boy was probably the first self-made millionaire off of the internet from music and dance. Millions of dollars from YouTube. That's not legendary? That's legendary to me, to be able to do that at 16 years old, to be a multimillionaire. And this music, we could talk about that, we could debate the music, but what he did, Bow Wow was from 9 years old to, I don't know, he just turned 30 maybe, before 30. Movies, TV, rap with everyone from Snoop Dogg to, he's literally been in the game for 3 decades. That's not, you know what I mean? So it's like being able to take your personal bias out of it and look at the things that people have done. Going back, sorry, I go on these tangents all the time, so just bear with me. So going back to what I was saying, my first show, and this is kind of when I started learning this lesson. I asked people would they be interested in doing a concert. Then I kind of went and asked for help, and I found a venue, and I went to the venue. And I literally told the venue, and please pay attention to this part, because this was like so key. If they would have said no, I probably still would have found a way to do it. But to ask them this, most people probably, I don't think they were prepared for someone who they had never met to ask them this. But it led to my career, you know. I went in, and I said to them, I said, you don't know me, I don't know you, I don't have any money, I'm a college student. I said, but I do have a large following, and I know a lot of people that, you know, that would come to this show. If I was able to put together a showcase that had 10 artists, the cost for the show would be $10. So people would basically, my pitch for it was people would be paying $1 for each artist. That was my pitch. When I would meet people, I'd be like, it's $10, one of these 10 artists you're gonna like. Like I literally would tell them that. So it's just $1 for artists. They're like, oh, shoot, if you put it that way, here's my $10, you know? But that was my pitch when I went to them. I actually sat down with them. I had a conversation with them. I didn't go to them saying, yo, I need to use your venue. I wouldn't have taken it personal had they worked with me or not. I just went there with kind of an open mind and just asked them, hey, look, you know, I'm this young kid. I have a following. I want to do this show. I said, whatever guarantee, you know, I kind of told them, I kind of bet on myself. And I said, listen, I can't put money up in the front. But if you give me a guarantee that I need to hit, I promise you that I'll hit that, and if I don't hit that, then I'll forfeit all of the profit from the show. So I bet on myself to do this. Now, I don't ask everybody to do that extreme, but to find ways that when you go to venues or when you have relationships or when you're building partnerships, to find ways where it's mutually beneficial. Because it was beneficial for them to have a young audience in there. It was beneficial for me to not have to pay for anything because I didn't have any money. So the show was a huge success. 450 people came to my first show. It was incredible. I went online, I got flyers. I had classes and stuff, so this is in the middle of still going to school full time. So I would wake up in the morning around 6 a.m. I knew that in the morning time, between 6 and I would say probably 8 a.m. is when people were going to work, usually on the L. The L's are packed. So I would try to get up around like between 5 to 6:30 a.m. And I would get on the L, because I was going to school down here, so I would get on the L. I ride the L up to, sometimes I'll do the Broad Street line, which is a little more dangerous, so I didn't really do that often. So I did the L, I went on the L, and I would just ride up to sometimes I ride to 30th Street and then come back, or I ride up to Girard and then get off and walk across and then come back. I would literally go through the train and just put flyers on the seats. Because I kind of said, okay, look, if I put out, if I did that 2 times a week, 300 flyers, if even 10% of those people come, that's still 30, 40 people who saw that. And for me, that's 30 minutes out of the week. That could be money in my pocket. It's just 30 minutes. I was my own street team. I didn't have a team, so I just kind of, did it on my own. And it worked. Like I said, 450 people came. Most of those people did not know me. They had no idea who I was, and so it was a huge success. My second show, 150 people came. I won big on my first show, thought I was a millionaire because I was in college. And then I booked an artist that I liked, that I thought everyone else would like. lost all that money the very next show. And I was like, whoa, you know, all right, well, I'm done with throwing shows. I'm gonna go back to college. Like, I'm gonna just go back to college. And, but again, I talked myself back into doing it. And so it was just, my career is not huge losses, you know, huge wins. Luckily, I've learned to sustain my losses. But I kind of just went that way with my career. I did 12 shows in my first year. I did 24 shows in my second year. By the time I got to my second year, I was kind of borderline breaking even on my shows. So I struck a deal with the venue. I told the venue, look, I know what talent we should book. If you put up the money to book the talent, I'll promote the show, and then we can do a deal on the back end. Just like that. I know who you should book. Juicy J. Why should we book Juicy J, Yusuf? Like, no one's listening to Juicy J. I said, listen, I'm telling you right now, book Juicy J. We booked, literally, we booked the show. Bands to Make Her Dance came out like the next week. The show sold out. You know what I mean? And Bands to Make Her Dance was already on the internet, but it broke radio. It like broke into radio. But it was just me kind of keeping my eye, just listening to the music, like, you know, keeping my eye into the music. I still was traveling, doing things. And so Pusha T, I did Pusha T's first show here. Music Soul Child's one of his first big shows here since he had ever came back in a long time. Bilal, Ryan Leslie, a whole bunch of shows. Joey Badass's first show here was with me. Dom Kennedy's first show here. Big Sean's one of his first shows here. That was a show I was a part of. That was a crazy show. Kendrick Lamar's first show. Very, very first show here. If you go and look at it on YouTube, because I was playing both roles. There's a guy on the stage filming him. Like, I was promoting the show and also I was the filmer. So I'm like on the stage filming Kendrick Lamar. And this is back before Schoolboy Q was even rapping. He was just a hype. So, you know, just get to work with so many of these artists when they're young. And then just kind of kept it going, you know, just kept moving forward. 2014, I got invited to the United Nations just from working. That was awesome. Got to talk there about music, about Philly, about the music scene here. Got to just, you know, experience that. Started traveling at 25. That was, listen, I know there's this whole like new wave of people being like, you know, the whole travel noir thing, and if I travel, you know, I got a passport, you know, that whole bullshit, you know, all that stuff, right? I cannot stress this enough. Like, with everything in my soul, if you can see how like serious I am about this, okay?
So I get a picture of that.
Can you see me? Like, I'm real serious. Like, travel. Get up and get out. You can always come back, but get up and get out. Buy them shoes or those boots or those sneakers. Wear the same pants for at least 3 weeks. Not saying you have to do that. I know people in here are stylish, but you know what I mean, though. You know what I mean? Diversify. But save your money and travel. Justfly.com. Remember that website? Justfly.com. It's a website. It's not my website. I'm like giving them free promotion. But justfly.com, because travel, meet other people, go to different markets. You never know who you'll meet. You never know who you'll have a conversation with. So make sure you travel. That's so important. I made it like it was something I had to do where I spent every birthday from 25 in a different country. So I spent, you know, 25 in Turkey, 26 in London, 27 in, I think I was in Japan, 28 in Australia, 29, 28 was in Japan, 29 in Australia, went back to London. And so I just made sure that I took my birthday in. I wanted to celebrate my birthday in different places in the world. So yeah, that's kind of the key. So I did all that. I got really to, like I said, the ceiling here in Philadelphia of doing shows. There's a lot more in there, but I don't want to stretch it out, you know, too much and bore you guys. But I got to a point here in Philly, which I'm assuming a lot of you have probably experienced, which makes this so important and so awesome. And I really can't wait to have a bigger role and help with this program, because I just love this. Philadelphia, the market here it's prime for what you want to do, right? The thing is, you have to, this whole like, I use the word like taking a loss personal, or expecting people to to carry through with your vision more than you do, you're going to fail. Like, you got to do the work. That's it. You might take it personal and be like, oh man, so-and-so said they was going to do it. Yo, it's on you at the end of the day. You have to do it. And I lost a lot of friends that way, being that way, because I was so adamant about me making sure I got the work done. And so I can't stress that enough, like, to get the work done. There's a couple individuals in this room right now that I met through the time that I was here in Philadelphia. And I think probably when they first heard my advice, I don't know how they took it. So one of the gentlemen that's in this room is Mont Brown. And when I met Mont Brown, he was a rapper. And I curved him a lot. I did. I curved him a lot. Because to me, it was just like, it's another rapper. I'm like, come on, man, I'm not interested, man. I'm not interested. Like, I got too many, no, man, I'm good. You know, I got too many things I'm doing. I wasn't open-minded to just listen to him. And I remember he would come to the events, he would come to the shows. Yo, I'm not even here. I just want to talk to you. Let's just build. And I finally said, all right, come on, let's build. Let's make sure that we have this, that we build. And also, I had to respect him because at the time he was building such a following in the city. I had to book him. You know, I mean, it was regardless of our interactions, I had to book him. I had to work with him. So it was like kind of like that relationship of learning and me learning how to kind of be more open. And I can't remember if it was after our first show or one of our second shows, but I just told him, I just said something I beg, and I used to tweet about this all the time. I used to say, like, I just beg artists to, like, put on their own shows. Like, well, why are you waiting for a promoter? Why are you waiting for a venue? Why are you waiting for me? Build your own audience, do your own show. So he hit me, he was like, yo, I got my own show. Like, what's up? You coming? And I was like, wait, what you mean? He's like, you say it all the time. You tweet about it. You say it. So I did it. What's up? I got a show, and I couldn't make the show, but I think the show got so big that it got like shut down. It was like it was crazy. But he literally went and did his own show. So from there, once I saw it, we ended up having a business relationship. We actually ended up having a business relationship, and I think one of the biggest shows he ever did, I helped set up for him, which was at the TLA. We set up a show. We did a huge show, 600 people. 600 people came out strictly for local artists, and I had previously done shows there as well, but that was like that was unheard of. No pay for play, none of that stuff. Just people working hard and making sure the show was good, and so it was dope. It was dope, but to see him take it from us having these conversations about being a curator, him paying attention to me, and having mentors is so important. All your mentors don't have to know you. Let's just get that out right now. Your mentors don't have to have your number. They don't have to know you. They don't have to talk to you. You don't have to have a relationship with them. That's the beautiful thing about social media. I have 30 or 40 mentors who have no idea who I am. I just go on social media. I look at, wow, how are they able to do that? How are they able to do this? I just kind of study their movement and study the things that they're doing. So your mentors don't have to know you. I have a lot of mentors just in my mind that I just look at, and I just study the successes that they have and learn ways to implement it into what I'm doing. So again, I hope that wasn't this long drawn. I want to have, of course, more personal conversations as people ask me questions, but that circles back around to the beginning of the conversation that I ended up moving to Las Vegas. Reached my type, I moved to Las Vegas, and now I'm 6 months in Las Vegas. I've done 7 shows out there. I've had 4 wins, 3 losses. The losses were big. They were big. They were big. The losses were, I haven't ate peanut butter and jelly in years, but that's how big they are. Okay, like it was like I'm living in a condo, eating peanut butter and jelly. Like that's how big the losses were. Like I have a condo,
Fancy PB&J.
and I'm eating peanut butter and jelly, like with tears in my eyes, like, like you know what I mean? I'm eating ramen noodles and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just like, wow. It doesn't, it doesn't matter how, like again, how comfortable you get. And so now I book 2 festivals. I book a festival in Atlanta. I book a festival in North Carolina. I do the shows in Las Vegas. I'm able to still do shows here and do things here in Philadelphia. I also, in 2 weeks, I'm going to have a conversation about potentially becoming a booking agent in New York. I don't know how I'm going to do that. But there's a lot of doors and a lot of avenues in music, in entertainment, in the entrepreneur world, in business. I don't know the right words, but there's a lot of opportunity there. Like I said, a lot of it is just about you, you know, a lot of it really is just about you, about you building relationships, knowing who to talk to, and doing the work. Sorry, that was the most random, all over the place thing, but that's the best I got for 30 minutes.
Do not apologize. That was awesome.